If you've been told your arteries only get worse with age, I want you to hear this carefully. There is a meal that has been shown to help your body reverse the process that clogs arteries, not just slow it down, not just manage cholesterol numbers, but activate the exact biological systems your body already uses to heal itself, and this matters even more after 60. Most seniors I speak with believe plaque builds up like grease inside a pipe, that once it's there, the best you can do is hope medication keeps it from getting worse. But that belief is wrong. Arterial plaque is not a plumbing problem. It is an inflammatory process driven by immune cells, damaged vessel lining, and poor cellular signaling. And when you understand that, everything changes. I've spent years studying cardiovascular disease from the inside out, reviewing surgical outcomes, imaging scans, and long-term patient data. What I'm about to share is not internet advice or a trendy cleanse. It's based on real biology and real outcomes in older adults. Make sure you watch until the end because if you miss the final mechanism behind this meal, the earlier steps will not work the way they're supposed to. This only works as a system. Before we continue, let me ask you something. How old are you? Where are you watching from? And has a doctor ever mentioned plaque, calcium score, or narrowed arteries to you? Share your answer in the comments. We read every one. Now let's break the biggest myth about clogged arteries and replace it with what actually works after 60. Why it's not your cholesterol and not your age. If clogged arteries were simply a matter of getting older or eating the wrong foods once in a while, nearly every senior would be facing the same fate. But that is not what we see. Some people reach their 80s with clear arteries while others develop dangerous plaque much earlier. That alone tells us aging is not the root cause. What most people are told is that cholesterol slowly sticks to artery walls, narrowing them over time. That explanation sounds simple, but it is biologically wrong. Cholesterol does not randomly glue itself to blood vessels. Your arteries are living tissue, not pipes. They react to damage, inflammation, and chemical signals inside your body. The real issue begins with the inner lining of your arteries called the endothelium. In healthy adults, this lining stays smooth and flexible. It releases a substance that keeps blood flowing freely and prevents immune cells from sticking. But after 60, especially if you've dealt with blood sugar issues, high blood pressure, stress, or inflammation, that lining becomes irritated and fragile. Once that lining is damaged, cholesterol particles slip underneath it. On their own, those particles are not dangerous. The danger starts when they become oxidized. That oxidation tells your immune system something is wrong. White blood cells rush in trying to clean it up. They absorb the cholesterol, swell up, and become trapped. This is how plaque actually forms as an immune response, not a fat deposit. This is why simply lowering cholesterol numbers does not solve the problem. Many seniors with normal cholesterol still suffer heart attacks or strokes. The plaque was already there, inflamed and unstable, waiting to rupture. The real threat is not how narrow an artery looks on a scan. It is how inflamed and fragile that plaque has become. This also explains why sleep, blood sugar, and inflammation matter so much more than most people realize. When inflammation stays high, plaque becomes unstable. And unstable plaque is what causes sudden blockages, not slow narrowing. Now that you understand what plaque truly is, the next question becomes obvious. If plaque forms because immune cells get trapped and overloaded, how does the body remove it? That answer exists, and it is the key to reversing the process instead of just managing it. The one healing system your body already has and why it's been shut down. Here is the part almost no one explains clearly, especially to seniors. Your body already has a built-in system designed to remove cholesterol from artery walls. It is not experimental. It is not alternative. It is basic human biology. The problem is that for most people over 60, this system has quietly shut down. Inside your blood, there is a transport system whose job is to move cholesterol out of tissues and back to the liver so it can be removed from the body. This process is called reverse cholesterol transport. Instead of cholesterol piling up where it causes damage, it is carried away for disposal. This is what people loosely refer to when they talk about good cholesterol. But the number itself is not what matters. What matters is whether that transport system is actually working. Inside plaque, those overloaded immune cells are stuck because they cannot release the cholesterol they swallowed. They are bloated, inflamed, and slowly dying. When they rupture, they spill inflammatory debris that makes plaque unstable and dangerous. Reverse cholesterol transport solves this problem at the source. It allows those cells to unload cholesterol, shrink back to normal size, and stop fueling inflammation. When this happens consistently, plaque can stabilize and, over time, even regress. So why does this system fail in so many seniors? Because it depends on three things that quietly decline with age: healthy blood vessel lining, proper signaling molecules, and specific nutrients that activate the transport machinery. Without those signals, cholesterol gets stuck where it does the most harm. This is why simply taking medication or cutting fat does not fix the problem. Lowering cholesterol in the bloodstream does nothing if cholesterol is already trapped inside artery walls. The garbage is already piled up, and no one is turning on the removal truck. And this is where food becomes powerful in a very specific way. Certain foods do not just reduce numbers on a blood test. They activate the exact pathways that tell immune cells to release cholesterol. They restore flexibility to blood vessels. They calm inflammation that keeps plaque unstable. That is why the meal I'm going to show you later is not random. Every ingredient serves a biological purpose. Each one turns on part of the system your body uses to heal arteries naturally. Before we get to that meal, though, there is one more enemy we need to talk about. Because cholesterol is not the only thing clogging arteries as we age. Calcium is just as dangerous and often more overlooked. The silent hardening that turns arteries into stone after 60. There is something even more dangerous than cholesterol buildup inside your arteries, and most seniors are never warned about it until it is too late. It is calcium. As plaque sits inside the artery wall year after year, your body tries to protect itself. It recognizes ongoing inflammation as a threat and attempts to contain it. The way it does this is by laying down calcium, almost like forming a scar. At first, this seems helpful. Calcium stabilizes damaged areas, but over time, this protective response turns destructive. Instead of staying flexible, your arteries begin to harden. They lose their ability to expand and relax. Blood flow becomes restricted. Pressure rises. The vessel walls stop responding normally to signals that regulate circulation. This is when arteries start behaving less like living tissue and more like rigid pipes. Doctors measure this process using something called a coronary calcium score. The higher the score, the more calcium has been deposited into the artery walls, and this number is one of the strongest predictors of heart attack and stroke in older adults. Here is what makes this especially dangerous for seniors. Calcified plaque does not just block blood flow. It becomes brittle, and brittle plaque is more likely to crack. When that happens, the body reacts instantly by forming a clot. That clot can completely block blood flow in seconds. This is why many heart attacks happen in people who were told their blockages were not severe enough to worry about. The plaque did not need to be large. It just needed to be unstable. And once calcium hardens inside the artery wall, diet advice that focuses only on lowering cholesterol becomes incomplete. You cannot soften calcified plaque by avoiding fat or counting calories. The mechanism is different. Your body needs specific signals to stop calcium from being deposited in arteries and redirect it back where it belongs into bones. After 60, those signals weaken. This is why seniors can have normal cholesterol levels and still suffer heart attacks. The real issue is not just what is floating in the blood, it is what is stuck in the vessel wall and how hard it has become. Now here is the hopeful part. Just like your body has a system for removing cholesterol, it also has a system for controlling where calcium goes. When this system is activated, calcium stops accumulating in arteries and can slowly be reabsorbed. And once again, this system does not activate by accident. It activates in response to very specific nutrients and signals, many of which are missing from the modern senior diet. In the next section, I'm going to explain why most common heart advice accidentally makes this worse and why the traditional low-fat approach fails seniors after 60. Why standard heart advice stops working after 60. By the time most people reached their 60s, they have followed heart advice for decades. They were told to avoid fat. They were told to fear cholesterol. They were told to eat light, eat low, and rely on medication to do the rest. And yet, heart disease remains the #1 cause of death in seniors. That is not because people failed to follow instructions. It is because the instructions were incomplete. Most heart advice focuses on what is floating in the bloodstream: cholesterol numbers, LDL levels, total fat intake. These measurements matter, but they only describe part of the story. They do not explain what is happening inside the artery wall. Lowering cholesterol in the blood does not automatically remove cholesterol that is already trapped inside plaque, and it does not address inflammation or calcification once they are established. This is why so many seniors are shocked when their doctor says their cholesterol looks fine but their calcium score is high, or why someone eats carefully for years and still ends up with a heart attack. After 60, your arteries change, the inner lining becomes less responsive. Immune activity inside the vessel wall increases, repair systems slow down, and the body becomes less efficient at clearing debris once it accumulates. This is also why low-fat diets often backfire in older adults. When fat intake is too low, a key protective particle called HDL tends to drop. HDL is not good cholesterol because it is harmless. It is protective because it removes cholesterol from tissues. When HDL drops, the system that clears cholesterol out of plaque weakens. At the same time, many low-fat diets replace fat with starches and sugars. This raises insulin, increases inflammation, and accelerates the very process that causes plaque to grow and harden. So, seniors do everything they were told, yet the biology underneath keeps moving in the wrong direction. Medication helps, but it is not a reversal tool on its own. Statins lower cholesterol production, which reduces future buildup, but they do not reliably activate the internal cleanup systems that already exist inside your arteries. This is why cardiology focuses on managing disease instead of reversing it. And this is why the meal I'm going to show you later does not look like traditional heart advice. It does not aim to clean arteries. It aims to activate the body's own repair mechanisms. But before we get there, you need to understand one final concept. The body already has a built-in way to pull cholesterol out of plaque, and most seniors have never been taught how to turn it back on. That is what we will cover next, the case that forced a rethink about artery disease. Let me walk you through a real situation that changed how many people think about clogged arteries, especially after 60. A man in his late 60s came in feeling relatively fine, no crushing chest pain, no dramatic symptoms. He walked daily, watched what he ate, and took the medications his doctor prescribed. On paper, he was doing everything right. But one test told a different story. His coronary calcium score came back extremely high, high enough to place him in a severe risk category. Even though he felt normal, imaging showed plaque building inside his arteries. Not enough to justify surgery yet, but enough to become dangerous at any moment. He was told the usual advice: lower fat, stay on medication, keep exercising, wait, and monitor. He followed that plan faithfully. Over time, something troubling happened. Instead of stabilizing, his plaque continued to progress. The calcium score increased. The arteries became stiffer. The risk did not go away. The answer lies in what the standard plan does not address. Lowering cholesterol numbers does not automatically activate the body's cleanup system. Medication can slow new cholesterol from entering plaque, but it does not reliably pull old cholesterol out. Exercise helps blood flow, but it does not directly reverse plaque biology. A low-fat diet may reduce calories, but it can also reduce the very signals the body needs to transport cholesterol away. This man's arteries were not just clogged, they were biologically inactive. The transport system that removes cholesterol had slowed down. When the focus shifted away from numbers and toward mechanisms, the approach changed. Instead of asking how to block cholesterol, the question became how to move it out. He followed a very specific daily meal protocol designed to support that transport system. Not occasionally, every day. No shortcuts. Over time, follow-up imaging showed something rare but powerful. The progression slowed, then it stabilized. Then, early signs of regression appeared. The calcium score stopped climbing at the same pace. The environment inside the artery had changed. The plaque was no longer inflamed and unstable. It was becoming quieter, more controlled. The exact meal that activates artery repair. Now that you understand why most advice fails after 60, this is where everything finally becomes practical. This is not a recipe meant to impress anyone. This is a deliberate, targeted meal designed to activate the exact biological systems your arteries rely on to heal. Think of this meal as a daily signal, a message you send to your blood vessels that says, repair mode is on. The foundation of this meal starts with leafy greens that naturally support blood vessel function. Arugula plays a special role here because it helps your body restore nitric oxide, a molecule that keeps arteries flexible and relaxed. As we age, nitric oxide production drops, which is one reason arteries stiffen and blood pressure rises. When flexibility returns, blood flow improves and stress on artery walls decreases. Next comes a healthy fat that seniors have been warned about for decades, but should never have been afraid of. High-quality extra virgin olive oil provides powerful natural compounds that calm inflammation inside the artery wall. These compounds help quiet the immune response that drives plaque growth and support the system that moves cholesterol out of artery tissue instead of trapping it there. This is not about adding fat. It is about restoring communication inside the artery wall. Without this signal, repair simply does not happen. The meal then includes a source of natural antioxidants that protect cholesterol from damage before it can trigger inflammation. Pomegranate seeds work especially well because they help shield cholesterol particles from oxidation. When cholesterol stays stable, the immune system stays calmer and plaque becomes less active. Finally, this meal addresses one of the most overlooked problems in seniors: calcium settling where it does not belong. As arteries age, calcium can harden plaque and turn flexible tissue into something rigid. Vitamin K from certain foods helps guide calcium back to bones where it belongs and away from artery walls. This supports long-term flexibility and stability. When these elements come together on one plate, something powerful happens. Blood flow improves, inflammation quiets, cholesterol transport strengthens, calcium misplacement slows. The artery environment shifts from damage toward repair. This is why consistency matters. This meal is not a sometimes solution. It works because it sends the same repair signal every single day. Over time, that signal adds up. You are not forcing your body to change. You are giving it what it needs to do, what it was designed to do. The biggest objections that keep arteries stuck. At this point, there are a few concerns that almost always come up, especially for seniors who have been doing their best to follow medical advice for decades. These objections are understandable, but they are also the exact beliefs that quietly keep arterial disease moving forward. The first concern is fear of fat. Many people over 60 were taught that fat is dangerous, that eating fat clogs arteries, and that olive oil is something to use sparingly. But here is the truth. Fat does not clog arteries. Inflammation, oxidation, and immune dysfunction do. When you remove healthy fats from the diet, especially after 60, HDL levels drop. That means your body loses its ability to carry cholesterol out of artery walls. Without that transport system, plaque stays trapped. Another common objection is consistency. Many seniors say they cannot eat the same meal every day. But this is not about variety or pleasure. This is about treatment. When you take a medication, you do not rotate it based on mood. You take it consistently because biology responds to repetition. Arterial healing works the same way. This meal is not food in the casual sense. It is a biological signal. Repeating that signal daily is what creates change. Then there is the belief that statins alone are enough. Statins can lower LDL levels, and for many people they are helpful. But lowering a number is not the same as reversing disease. Statins do not activate reverse cholesterol transport. They do not remove calcium from arteries. They do not repair endothelial dysfunction. This is why many seniors on statins still see their calcium scores rise year after year. Medication can slow progression, but food is what activates repair. Finally, there is doubt about whether food can really do something this powerful. That doubt exists because nutrition is often explained poorly. When those pathways are turned back on, healing becomes possible again. Before we close, it is important to pause and speak directly to you as an older adult who may already be managing heart disease, blood pressure issues, diabetes, or other medical conditions. Everything shared in this video is for educational purposes only and is designed to help you better understand how your body works as you age. This information is not a replacement for medical care, diagnosis, or treatment from your physician or cardiologist. Every senior's health situation is different. Medications, past surgeries, genetic factors, and existing conditions all influence how your body responds to dietary changes. If you are currently taking prescription medications, especially blood thinners, cholesterol medications, or blood pressure drugs, you should discuss any major dietary changes with your healthcare provider. This is particularly important if you have been diagnosed with advanced heart disease, kidney disease, or have recently had a cardiovascular event. The goal of this video is not to encourage you to stop medications or ignore medical advice. It is to help you understand the biological systems involved in arterial health so you can have more informed conversations with your doctor and make safer, smarter lifestyle decisions that support long-term heart health. Healing after 60 should never feel rushed or extreme. Progress happens gradually, and steady consistency matters far more than intensity. Let's gently bring everything together so it is easy to remember. Arteries do not clog because of grease or food sticking to the walls. They become damaged through inflammation, oxidation, calcium buildup, and a breakdown in cholesterol transport. Once those systems stop working properly, plaque becomes trapped and unstable. That is why so many seniors follow the usual advice and still see their condition worsen. The meal you learned about today works because it activates repair, not restriction. It supports blood vessel flexibility, restores healthy blood flow, helps your body move cholesterol out of artery walls, and redirects calcium back where it belongs. This is not about perfection. It is about sending your body the right signals consistently so it can do what it was designed to do. If you are over 60, your body is not broken. It is responding to years of mixed signals. When those signals change, healing can begin again slowly and safely. If this video helped you understand your health in a new way, please like the video and subscribe to Senior Vital Health. It helps this message reach other seniors who are quietly worried but do not know where to turn. And let me ask you one more time, how's your health been lately? If you feel this information was valuable, you can also tap the Super Thanks button below as a small gesture of support. It allows us to keep creating clear, respectful health education for older adults. Leave a comment and tell us how old you are, where you are watching from, and whether heart health has been a concern for you or someone you love. We read every comment, and this community grows stronger when seniors learn together. Thank you for being here, for caring about your health, and for taking one more step toward a stronger future.